The views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the host and guest and do not reflect the opinions or policies of the station, its owners, or its advertisers. All content should be considered editorial in nature. Listener discretion is advised.
Recorded live from the radio studios of WFAY and WMRV, Andrew Lonis Media presents Cumberland County's smartest hour of talk radio. Welcome back to another edition of the Carolina Cabinet.
And good morning and welcome to the Carolina Cabinet. I'm Peter Pappas. I'm your host this morning. We're proud to be the only homegrown conservative talk radio show in the region, and we know this is the smartest hour of radio. Our job is to give a voice to the conservatives of Fayetteville, Cumberland County, and beyond. If you're listening to us this morning, you're listening to us at WFAY 100.1 and The River, WMRV 106.5. This morning in the Cabinet, I welcome Pastor Joshua Goodman.
Good morning, family.
Good to have you. Bishop J. Antoine Minor.
Here.
And welcoming special guest Jacob Pate, Scotland County GOP Vice Chair. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, guys. How you doing?
I'm missing my background music. It's kind of quiet because we're broadcasting from a different place. But as we dive into our show, I appreciate you tuning in and spending time with us this morning. Please take a moment to like, share, or follow this broadcast or our page, thecarolinacabinet.com. And you can find links to our other shows and podcasts there. So with that, don't go far. We'll be right back.
Since 2012, Joshua Goodman has been the senior pastor at the Cliffdale Christian Center, a dynamic church and ministry located in West Fayetteville. Join our friend Pastor Goodman for a podcast or a live sermon in person at 6427 Cliffdale Road. Now for today's good news. Here is Joshua Goodman.
Well, good morning from the All-American City. This is Pastor Josh, and have I got some good news for you. In a time when so many want to talk about, unpack, and discuss all the problems, circumstances, situations, all the negative junk, I'm here to give you some good news. Coming to you back from 1 Peter, once again, where in chapter 3, verses 10 and 11, he writes, "For he who would love a life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil. Let his lips keep from speaking deceit. Let him turn away from evil and do good. Let him seek peace and pursue it." In this portion of Scripture, friends, Peter gives us some very powerful words of wisdom. First, he poses this statement, "For he who would love life and see good days." There are some who may be out there today who would say, "No, that's not for me. I'm going through a situation where I really hate life and my days are really evil." And if that's you, friend, let me say, here I am at 6427 Cliffdale Road. Come by anytime, ask to speak to Pastor Josh, and let's talk about it. That's 6427 Cliffdale Road. And again, come talk to me. I'm Pastor Josh. Many of us, though, on the other hand, we want to have that good life. We want to see good days. And the voice of Peter resounds throughout time to us today. Then if that's what you want, refrain your tongue from evil and let your lips not speak deceit. Turn away from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. I love that Peter centers his statements around two very key things. Number one, what we say, and number two, what we do. First off, let's talk about what we say. Why is it so important what we say? Well, the Word of God says that from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. What we say reflects what is in our heart. Number two, those you speak to are not the only ones who hear your words. You hear your words, and they also affect you. So let those words be words of life and positive words. Second, we see this, that what we do is also important. He says, seek peace, pursue it. Seeking and pursuing are not passive words, my friend. These are active words. Jesus said, seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open. Ask and it will be given to you. If you seek what is evil, if you pursue it, then don't be surprised if what you find is evil. If you actively and intentionally seek peace, guess what? Yep, you got it. You'll find it. So, if you're really going through today, I mean, the storms are raging, challenges, difficulty. Maybe it's in your marriage, maybe it's on your job, maybe it's with your kids. Then, can I give you this word of encouragement? Check what you say and what you do. Don't speak evil and death. Instead, speak life and goodness. Don't seek and pursue the negative, the bad. Instead, seek and pursue life. Seek and pursue goodness, because I guarantee you this, if you do, that's what you'll find. This is Pastor Josh, and that is your good news.
Get to the bottom of what's going on in the news. You're listening to the Carolina Cabinet. Conservative conversations that will rattle your brain.
Cabinet. I'm Peter Pappas. I'm your host. I'm here with Pastor Josh and with the aggressive conservative Bishop Antoine Minor. And with Mr. Jacob Pate. So good morning, gentlemen. It's always a pleasure to see you. You're not hearing voices and other songs and stuff.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
It just sounds windy. It sounds like somebody ate a lot of sandwiches as a kid and they're just breathing
Yes.
heavy in the mic.
Well, they're stuck right here. Right here.
Okay.
They're right.
Okay.
They're stuck,
It can't be me, Peter.
I can't. I got a lot of catching up to do to be you, Bishop. So,
Yeah.
All right. So let's get back to brass tacks. The last couple of weeks, Pastor Josh, we missed you.
Yeah, man. So I worked myself straight into sickness. I was, goodness sake, down for a few days with fatigue, and finally I slept like 13 hours one night and woke up feeling great. So for the past week, I've been back to running, kicking, doing what I do.
Okay. All right. So did we have a meal at the Dale on Wednesday? Because,
We did.
I always get, those are the emails that are disappointing when I get them saying you're canceled. So
Yeah, no, we were good to go. Also, let me let you know, we have our annual chili cook-off coming up in the next few weeks. And Bishop, I'd like to see an entry there.
Okay. Bishop,
You know?
I'd like to try that. I didn't know you
Yeah.
can cook.
You didn't know I could cook.
Oh, Bishop, that's his thing.
What, Peter?
I'm just joshing you. I mean, sorry, Pastor Josh, but I'm just joshing him. But no, I think I bought a couple plates last time you had a
You did.
fundraiser. I did.
You did. You did.
I support the cause.
You did.
I try.
You be out in the hood. You be out
I
in the
am.
hood.
I get to where I need to go.
Yes, sir. You be out there.
So thankfully, Pastor Josh is feeling better. God bless you. I'm glad. We missed you.
Yeah, man, I missed you guys.
So as an announcement, we're just coming off of the GOP convention of last weekend. That's what I've been up to the last several weeks, speaking truth to ignorance, I guess.
Yep.
Making videos, myself and Bishop and Heather Holmes, Bree Eldridge, Laura Musler, we all kind of came together to make videos to whip up support. And I think, Bishop, I'm going to claim a win for last weekend, not just that we have a new board, but that we saw such attendance at our convention. I want to say it was at least double, twice with the last that I've seen. I've only seen 60 or 70 people at these conventions. You got any opinion on that?
And I want to say to everybody in the Cumberland County GOP, you're welcome. You're welcome.
So before we take victory laps, I just want to talk about what was accomplished.
The numbers, I believe that when the numbers were given, it was stated that there were more people at this convention than at any convention in the, I think, last 20 or 30 years, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but it was like there was a large gap of time. And actually, if I recall, I think they said they've never had this many people at a county convention. Usually when you go to a county convention, you may get 60 people, 65, but 100 is really pushing it. And we had a huge number of people, and we had a huge number of first-time convention attendees. People showed up, and the reason I say you're welcome, I'm being facetious, but I'm being serious at the same time, because so many people were coming up to me this weekend and acknowledging that they have been listening to the cabinet. They've been watching these live Facebook lives and things like that. And so it was to hear that, I was like, sometimes,
Mhm.
you don't think a lot of people are really paying attention, but the numbers at convention showed that people
Mhm.
are paying attention, and people came looking for answers and looking to be involved. And it was just an amazing sight. When I pulled up and there were no parking spaces, I had to do the most illegal parking space I could find. And my justification was I got disabled veteran license plate, so I got to park where I can park. And and then we ran out of Duck Donuts and coffee, so we knew we was packed then because we ran out.
Mhm.
We ran out.
Well, I don't think anyone anticipated anywhere near that turnout. And again, for better or worse, all the vitriol, all the back and forth of the mistruths that were given out against you and me and the group that were putting out videos with receipts and all. I think it at least cued people to want to participate. And at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I mean, Jacob, chime in here. How many people normally attend the Scotland County GOP conventions thereabouts? You don't have to be specific, but
Well, Bishop kind of nailed it. About 60 to 70 is about our
okay.
normal fire convention.
I mean, let's be honest. I normally hopefully would have something way better to do on a beautiful Saturday morning than go to Freedom Christian Center and sit in a GOP business meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's be honest, and for stale coffee and to run out of donuts. But I'm just happy to see that our party showed up.
Yeah.
I really have
Showed
to
up.
admit,
They did.
it was a good thing. And so I brought that up to say this. This is one of the more final Carolina cabinets. Now that we've gotten through the election of the new board, we're going to change our focus back to our regularly scheduled programming, which is the mission and the purpose of this show, which is community-based programming. We're going to be hearing from, now it will be political in nature, but it's not going to be inside baseball of the GOP functions. Okay,
Correct.
we're going to return. Over the last weekend, I have reached out to different councilmen, commissioners, different people in state government council, and then people from the United Way, Partnership for Children. I want to hear what's going on in my community, and that's what the Carolina Cabinet was originally designed for, and we're going to return back to our main mission. So I just wanted to, because I think purposely the last few episodes we've, even though Pastor Josh was ill, I was like, nah, just stay. Go, it's fine. I'm sorry you're ill, but just stay over there because we're going to really get in the weeds of some really icky. Anytime you tear apart a board, you're going to get it gets a little messy.
Yep. Well, and I think for me, even in this, and I'm glad I was able to step back because I've got to remain impartial, and but what I do love is the evidence that people in our community are hearing our voice. I believe that part of the reason for the great turnout at the GOP was that the fact that people they have us representing them on the airwaves, on the podcast, and they hear our voice. And now by them being showing up in such great fashion, I believe that lets people know that we hear their voice, and they let their voice be heard this past Saturday when they had the election and did what they did.
Yeah. Well, and that is the American way. We might gripe, but we get together, we have an election, and we peacefully overthrow our government, whether it be a local board or it be our city council or our presidency, and we peacefully do it and we move on. And that morning of the convention, so up to the convention, there were several people that online, we traded some barbs, and it was very nice to see them approach. And I'm just going to toot my own horn that I'm at least approachable enough that they felt safe to approach and say, hey, the online stuff. And I shook their hand and said, this is how mad I am about these things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this doesn't, whatever keyboard warriorness we displayed to each other, it's over with. We're here. We showed up. I was so happy to see the turnout Saturday. And that is the biggest win. It doesn't matter which slate you voted for. We all won as Republicans in our community last weekend by just showing up. So, but anyway, I did just want to mention that we had a good convention, and now we get to return to our regularly scheduled programming, except for Jacob in here, jumping in the pool. Going to talk some more a little bit of GOP stuff, but not divisive and angry. I think you have a pretty happy GOP, I think, in Scotland County.
Yeah, we're usually pretty laid back, I mean, we don't have a lot of arguments there. Just a lot of, I guess, old-fashioned people that just love to see our county succeed.
Right. So
y'all get a lot of tornadoes in Scotland County.
What are they, a magnet for tornadoes? What?
I don't know, but every time I see a warning, it's Scotland County. And it's Scotland County and another county. I said, I ain't going over there.
Well,
they got the Wizard of Oz effect going on over there. I ain't got time for it.
So, Jacob, what's the town or city we'd know in Scotland County? What's the county?
Well, I mean, Scotland County is going pretty well. We this past election, we actually just flipped our county commissioner board.
Okay.
First in history. We went from, in 2018, before November, we had 0 Republicans to now having the majority.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And we got all 3 in this past election. And all of our local Republicans won. So it was definitely good to see and see it finally start to turn in our favor.
Sure. Well, what do you attribute that to? I mean, so like in our party here locally, it's always funny. The guys with the gray hair like me, they always say, we want the young people to be involved. We want and you, sir, are much younger than me, or at least you dye your hair to be that way. But so what have you done differently in your party, you think, the last 4 or 5 years to turn and make these changes?
Well, kind of like you pointed out, the leadership changed.
Okay.
Myself being vice chairman, our chairman has a little bit of gray, but he's a lot younger than our past chairmen.
Yeah.
And he's been very proactive. His name is Joe Pate. He's been very, very proactive. Great chairman. I have the utmost respect for him and the job he's done. I believe that going in the neighborhoods that most people don't want to go into, I think, was a big part of it.
Okay, now I think you just spoke to Bishop's love language. So what neighborhoods did you go into? Non-traditional Republican neighborhoods?
Yeah. A lot of neighborhoods that most people are afraid to go into, which I live in one of those neighborhoods. So
okay. So basically, he's of the hood, is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's not afraid to go out and engage with communities that may not necessarily look, think, or vote like him, but he's willing to engage the community as a whole to make the GOP agenda and platform known and understood.
Yeah, and the point slipping out here with that too. We just had at our last meeting, we had Cindy Moyer. She just got elected as the North Carolina Hispanic, I think the chairman of the North Carolina Hispanic Federation, and something that I spoke with her about, and that is reaching out to the people that will actually kind of hold the same values, but don't quite understand what the Republican or the GOP party stands for.
Mm-hmm.
They just hear the news or hear something on TV, and they don't quite understand about the GOP values of the old-fashioned traditional values that GOP holds, the Christian conservative values that GOP holds.
Wait a minute. There's Christian conservatives that may vote traditionally Democrat? You're kidding me.
No, yeah.
You mean everybody that's Democrat isn't a liberal crazy town?
Yes, sir.
I'm shocked. I mean, personally, I'm shocked because in Fayetteville we don't have anybody like that. I mean,
I am flabbergasted.
I mean, color me surprised, boys. So Jacob, when y'all did the outreach, what did that look like? Were y'all knocking doors? Were you phone calls? Were you going to community events? Tell me a little bit. Share some inside baseball a little bit. How did you do it?
Okay, well, actually, some of all of that you just named. A lot of door knocking between me and my wife. We spent hours upon hours of door knocking. And of course, using it was Campaign Sidekick, I believe.
Okay.
But used the campaign sidekick and using the data that we had and the doors from the Trump Force 47 as well, to use that as well as for the local candidates, and then to kind of target people that were not, or you say soft Democrats or independents, and targeting people who don't normally vote Republican was the biggest part in my, at least I believe so. I spent much time targeting independent voters, unaffiliated, and I will say you would not believe how much people truly hold different values when you go to the neighborhoods that you wouldn't normally go to. And they, a love for God, a love for their country and nation, and wholeheartedly great people, and it's just because of where they live, or maybe they don't get out as much, maybe a lot of the elderly, older people, going out to those areas was a big target, at least for me and my wife. And then just pushing the message mostly, of course, staying engaged, which you guys do that very well there, staying engaged with social media stuff, probably way better than I do. But I mean, just like, this past weekend, I mean, it paid off for you guys. So,
yeah.
Okay.
So there's a lot. So basically what I'm hearing is it's not a given. It's not for granted. If you want to make change in your community, you, looking at all the armchair Fox News watchers right now, we need you to come out to meetings and come out and walk and knock those doors, at least up and down your street. I mean, were you going in like neighborhoods, like trailer park? I mean, like, how concentrated is your housing there in the areas you were targeting? Like, were you in dense neighborhoods or what?
Yeah, so a lot of the low income housing, trailer parks, and well, really, it's a lot of the apartment complexes that are really hit hard. And that has a lot to do with the fact that there were so many people in those areas who were just not registered to vote.
Yeah.
Reaching out the voter registration was a big thing, and of course the community events always helps. Getting the candidates out, party leadership out, speaking to those people who are out, maybe have a fun time, but to also make sure that they're knowing about the community, the local community, state, federal, and at least try to get them to our side. And I said, we saw a big swing, especially this year. See such a big swing, I believe, really contributed to all the hours that, we put in.
Well,
so I want to go back to, go ahead, Josh.
So I think that this speaks to a greater thing too that we're seeing in our communities. Over the past decade or so, people have been more and more reclusive. And perhaps one of the benefits we got from COVID is it caused us to be incredibly reclusive. And now people, they want to be a part of something. They want to be a part of their community. They want to be able to go to the park. They want to be able to engage with strangers. And so I'm really seeing this even in the church, where people who may not look like, walk like, talk like, vote like other people in the church, they prize the community over the politics. And I think that's what we're seeing with you guys, Jacob, is that people, the fact that you're willing to come knock on a door, shake a hand, have a conversation, I think that all of those things, and this will apply to everybody who is in any measure in the public arena, and that is, I believe we are past the time when you can be in the public arena, whether it's in politics, the church, any area where you could simply have the Wi-Fi face-to-face. People have an innate need to be touched, to be talked to be a part of a community. And one of the things that COVID really brought out was people's need for that. And now that they're realizing that, we are seeing record numbers at GOP Cumberland County. We are seeing major changeovers with you guys, Jacob. We are seeing churches that are growing, new members coming in, being activated and wanting to be a part. At least that's what I'm experiencing on my end. Is I think people truly have a hunger for community, and I think we live in a time where if we take advantage of that, that we could see some really, really great things happen.
I think we're in it. I think we have entered into a dispensation, as we would say in the church.
Yeah,
we've entered into a dispensation of authentic engagement.
Yeah, I agree.
People want authentic engagement. They, and I believe that's why we saw here in Cumberland County so many people, so many first timers show up to convention, because, like you said, Josh, gone are the days of this passive engagement. Yep. People want authentic engagement. They want touch points. They want to physically see you. They want to physically hear you. They want you to knock on that door. They want you. And I believe that what they're saying is, if you want my support, if you want my vote, if you want me to get behind what you're doing, you need to show up. Don't wait for me to come to you. Yep. But I'm gonna need you to come, and this is, even from the church side, this is what Jesus did. Jesus said, I'm not gonna wait for the people to come to me. I'm gonna go, and I always tell people, when Jesus said go, that it wasn't just a command, but it was an acronym. Get out. Yeah. Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your place of slothful. Get up and get out. Yep. Go and authentically engage people. And that's what I'm hearing Jacob say they did over in Hurricane County, in Scotland County, or Tornado County, one of them.
Tornado Alley.
Tornado Alley. Is you guys got out, like you say, you and your wife, hours on hours of taking your time and knocking on doors, talking to people, and not being afraid to go into those areas where you normally may not see conservative, or you may think you wouldn't see conservatives, but they are conservatives, Republicans, they are conservative Democrats. They are people in these areas embedded that think just like us, but they stay hidden because no one has engaged them to the point of wanting to come out of the shadows. And that's what it sounds like you said you guys did over in Scotland County. And that, I believe, is one of the things that even here, even though we had that great turnout at convention, that's one of the things that we are pressing this new GOP board here in Cumberland County to do, is get out of the office, hit those doors, authentically engage with people from your heart. Like, get out. They may not all agree with you, but at least be willing to listen to them and let them know that their voice and their position matters, and engage them. And I think we'll see a huge turnaround. I've heard it all the last couple of election cycles, a red wave. Well, the reason we're seeing that red wave starting to build is because of people like Trump, who have no problem authentically engaging the communities that they are asking for support from. That's when we talk about turning counties red. You're not going to turn a county red if you can't get out in that county and go into those, go into the as we say in the church, the highways and the byways, the highways and the hedges, and compel men. Because to be honest, what we're doing, even politically, is evangelism. Go out and to compel men to come in.
Well, I would like to ask Jacob something. So, we have not done a pre-interview, so I don't know the answer to this. I might fall on my face or I might not. But Jacob, when you talk about going out and like you were knocking doors with your wife, which I saw you at a lot of events here, you were in Cumberland County too. Like you were working your butt off to network, and I think that's important from having a board position, that the board's around you so that you can collaborate. But when you say you and your wife were out there walking, who else? How big of a team did you all have to knock and canvass doors?
Well, as far as Scotland County, it's not very big because our party's a lot of older and elderly people. We did not have a whole ton as far as this county. Now, Robinson County, we had a very good big amount of people. Of course, Cumberland County is full of people as well. So it's different in the surrounding counties. Richmond, Robinson, Cumberland. As far as Scotland, it was not a whole lot of people, but I did get people engaged with the phone calls. And that was another feature of the campaign sidekick, being able to make phone calls. And just making sure the settings were set, at least mine, and the ones that worked with me, was to make sure that the phones were set to call people who were soft Democrats, and just anyone who was not a strong Republican, because that we're wasting our time reaching out to the ones we already knew want to vote our way.
Absolutely.
Can we do a quick role play? I'd like to hear what those calls sound like. I mean, Bishop heard role play and he looked straight at me for a second. But calm down. So Jacob, if I was one of your people, you're one of the soft Democrats or unaffiliated, you're going to call. So ring, ring, hello, and here's Jacob. What would you say? What do you say as a volunteer?
Well, for me, I always introduce myself as Jacob B. Pate. I am a elder of a church myself, of River Life Ministries. I always think that announcing that, is always a good way to get to a lot of people's heart who may not agree politically, but that's something that we have in common is that we all love God. Hey, I am an elder of a local church in Scotland County. Ask them how they're doing, how was their day, trying to reach out to them, try to get where their mind is. And then I'll ask them, look, have you registered to vote? If not, would you like to register? Where is your mind as far as who would you like to vote for? And could I ask you possibly why you want to vote for those folks? And if they didn't pick GOP candidates or the ones that I wanted to vote for, I'll just try to have a conversation and just ask them, where does your support align with? Is it really strongly the party, or is it the politics of it? Is it that I don't really care about what's going on? I'm just going to vote Democrat just because they're Democrats,
right?
Or is it because of what they stand for? Is it the values that go along with it? And just and truthfully, just having a conversation with them back and forth.
Okay, so you basically say, "Hey, I'm Jacob. I'm a local elder at a church, and how are you today, Mr. and Mrs. Smith?" And just kind of let it flow. There isn't, so we did a share of phone banking here at the Resource Center, which we are recording at tonight. But it was always hard to say, well, what's the script? How do we do that? And I tried explaining to people, just be yourself, be human.
Have a conversation.
Have a conversation.
There is no script that's right or wrong for human nature. It's like, just hi.
Yeah.
And if they don't hang up on you in 5 seconds, then you're going to get it for 5 minutes. But because you are calling people, so calling people in the middle of their workday or in the evening, they're trying to have dinner with the few minutes they have with their family, it's hard to start that conversation. So I'm very happy to. How many phone calls you think you made during the campaign or during this season?
So I had 3.
He's got to think about that. How many?
I had 3 separate campaign sidekick accounts. I had one for Mark Robinson, one for the Trump Force 47, and then one with shared data for the GOP itself. And I probably altogether, I would say probably about 5,000 or 6,000.
Okay. Thousand opportunities to be rejected. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it shows you, because Jacob had mentioned, the volunteer staff wasn't as heavy, was not as populist as he perhaps would have liked. But the fact that him and his wife were able to knock on those doors, the fact that he was able to make those 5,000 or 6,000 phone calls show you the impact of one committed, dedicated couple. Yeah. And I believe they had a resound effect on the turnouts of the election there this past year.
Yep. That is true. I believe it. You have to engage people, And and like you said, it shows the I'm gonna use your word, Josh, the profound effect of one dedicated individual. And this is something that I think I told Peter the other day on our Facebook Live, talking about the GOP convention here in Cumberland County. Why, although I was exhausted, I had a busy week, I brought the kids with me and I was tired. I was sitting there at convention dozing off, and the normal person be like, well, why didn't you just stay home and stay in bed if you're that tired? Because there is power in showing up.
Yep.
There is power in showing up. The immense amount of impact that one person who shows up can have. Yep. I showed up to make sure that my vote, I didn't want my vote to be the one vote that swung us the wrong way. So I needed to make sure that I was present in that room. And same thing when you're knocking doors and you show up. People appreciate the fact that, especially older people, they appreciate when you show up at their door. Because I've knocked doors for Mark Robinson, knocked doors for Trump with the working through Elon Musk, and knocked doors for my own campaign when I ran for mayor and city council. And the number of people that will say to you, thank you for stopping by. I've had so many people say, no one ever knocks on my door. It is such a breath of fresh air for someone to knock on my door and actually have and it wasn't just, hey, I'm J. Antoine Minor, here's a palm card. It was, let's just have a conversation. And sometimes those conversations can be extended, especially with your older people, because they want to come in. They want you to come in and they want you to look at the pictures on the wall and see all the people that they know.
Have a glass of sweet tea.
Have a glass of sweet tea and sit down and make sure you come back, Sonny. But that right there, but when you do that for them, understand they got family and friends too. And they pass that off to their family and friends and say, so-and-so came here for this candidate or came here for this platform, and such a sweet young man or sweet young lady, and just I think I'm considering changing my voting. And because what they said, I didn't know all of this. And that's what happens when you have authentic engagement and authentic conversations with people that's not predicated on a script, that's not predicated on talking points, but it's just straight from the heart, straight from the hip. You give them the information, have proof of your information, and just have a conversation with people. That goes such a long way.
Well, and that's one of the things like social media, they have in many ways robbed us of that. And don't get me wrong, I love social media, has a profound, powerful impact. But one of the things that social media has robbed us of is that ability to knock on the door, to have the conversation. And people, they don't need to see a post on Facebook or Instagram or a picture. People need to have contact with one another. And that is something, again, like I said at the beginning of the show, that's something that's innate on the inside of us. We can read through 20 different Facebook posts and walk away being grumpy and mad and ugly. And then we can go have a 2-hour lunch with a best friend and have conversation that is out of this world and feel like we're so alive, that there's nothing like it. And that's what we're finding out, I believe, as a society even.
Yeah, especially after COVID. COVID, I believe, robbed us of those touch points. And it kind of, I don't know if you guys see it this way, but to me, it kind of seems like society is learning to be social again, to be interconnected again, to touch each other again. You still have people who are afraid to be within 6 feet of you, but we're learning all over again how to be a society, how to be humans.
Maybe that's the problem we've been seeing, Bishop, is people haven't really remembered that they can get touched by some of the stuff they're running behind the keyboard warriors. So they forget they're still on COVID time. So they don't know, but I agree with you. Sorry. I think where we catch my drift on that.
I caught you on that one.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, Bishop, if you went out, were you wearing the Captain America hat?
Went out where?
When you went out canvassing.
Oh, no, I didn't have this hat when I was out canvassing, but I had my red hat.
Okay.
That was my Captain America hat back then, because and for people who are watching, who want to get engaged, who want to get out there and knock doors or talk, you have, and this is what I told my son the other day, you can't be afraid of the rejection that comes. When you truly believe in what it is that you are knocking on doors for, when you truly believe in what it is that you are out there engaging people over, you're going to get rejected. That's okay. It's an occupational hazard.
Yes.
But you have to be willing. You have to have intellectual and testicular fortitude enough to keep pushing. I'm being nice, to keep pushing through
you
the
cannot be
rejection.
a fragile masculinity person.
Yeah, no betas knocking on the door.
No betas.
You got to go out there and you know what gives you that strength, knowing that you know what you know. And having a strong conviction, because the only time people usually get really timid is when they really don't believe in what they're talking about. But when you really got, when you really believe and you really got the facts and the information and stuff, there's a boldness that comes with you. It's not an arrogance. It shouldn't be an arrogance, but there's a boldness that comes that says, I got some stuff you need to have. I got some information that you need to have, in your pocket, and let me help you with it. And that confidence and that boldness, that too will win people over, because they realize you really know what you're talking about. You really got some stuff here, and you can prove what you're talking about. That's the key right there.
So I think I'm going to change some of my messaging from maybe rhino hunting to beta hunting. I think we need to look for betas in our party.
Well, how about this? We'll do a tribute to Joshy. We'll go beta fishing.
Beta fishing.
Yeah, we'll go beta fishing.
It's a lot of truth in what you said tonight. I think there's a lot of people that I think I saw in comments on videos that would say the GOP never knocked my door, and I've lived here XYZ years, or I've never heard from. And I hope to see, back to our local GOP, I hope that the new board is able to engage and at least try. But I did challenge, if anybody said that the GOP never showed up, I will challenge them and I will ask them, when did you try to find us? It's a two-way street. It's kind of like people that get upset at our city management, county management, well, they're doing XYZ. And the first thing I say is, are you signed up on the city website, the City of Fayetteville website? Because the city manager sends out an email every week saying, hey, this is what's going on, whether you like it or not.
Do you come to those meetings?
We need you to come halfway, sign up for the emails, read the emails, and when it comes to your local party, show up. Go ahead, Josh.
Yep. Well, what I was going to say is this new board that's been elected, they stand at a very pinnacle place, because with these changes in community and society, they have the opportunity to do what few have been able to do. And I would venture to say, and I'll qualify this, but probably the past 10 to 15 years, because around, I'll say again, 2005, 2010, all really through the 2001 through 2010, we saw people begin to kind of step back, begin to be introverted. And by the time COVID hit, everybody was, just reclusive in themselves. And now these individuals who have just been elected to this GOP board, these positions, people are kind of, they're coming out of their shell. And so this is such an opportune time, because people right now will be more receptive than perhaps they've been in years. But what my expectation is, as a local Republican, is now it's on them. There's work to be done, so let's get it done. There were lots of complaints about the previous board. Okay, I don't know the intricacies of that, so I can't even speak to it. But this board is now in the position, and if they seize that, man, they could really have a great impact on our community.
Well, I think we're looking up to the future. I don't, what happened is in the past. I truly, honestly believe that. Could there be criminal stuff having to do with our audit? Sure. Is there going to be? Probably not.
Probably not.
I mean, we need to turn the page. We need to cut down the bickering. We need to come together as Republicans. I've been vilified for saying we're going to turn Cumberland County purple, but it's like the attack of the primary colors. People don't want to understand. If you go from blue to red, you're going to mix a little red and blue is going to make a little purple. So, but we need to focus on putting Republicans and conservatives in the right places in our community, which is something that the Resource Center here has tried to accomplish, is by getting people on city and county boards. And Jacob, I don't know if you guys are doing any kind of planning like this, but our plan here was infiltrate the rooms we're not usually going into. That we should have conservatives in the rooms, like myself and Simone Pemberton as Republicans. We were on the Fable Cumberland Human Relations Commission. Now, the extremes of our party have vilified our service to the community, because that's the board that they alleged DEI is being administered from. Not the case. But again, if it wasn't a conservative in the room for me to stand up and get in trouble, and Simone is my chairwoman having to reel me back in, and she would tell me that, the way you said it was probably not so great. And Pastor Josh can attest to that. I say things sometimes maybe not the nicest way, but it started the conversation in those rooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you don't want to be in a room where everybody looks like you, walks like you, talks like you, because you won't ever affect any change.
And just yesterday, I think I made a post or a comment, and it really is funny. Strange bedfellows, they say.
Yeah.
There's people on the Human Relations Commission that you wouldn't think would ever stand up for, but I didn't have to comment about the post. They took it from there.
Yep.
You see, and that wouldn't have happened unless they know me personally, to know maybe I look like this, but they know they know more about my heart because I'm on that commission. That's what we get vilified in the community. And the people that are throwing the most cheap rocks from the cheap seats, I posited to them, what board and commission do you sit on? It doesn't make me a better human, but tell me how you're participating so that you're talking to me with some knowledge of what you're spouting. Yep. But going back to, and maybe it's because I have bad audio, I'm not very happy with today's show, but Jacob, how big of a team did you have to affect that kind of change?
Well, as far as Scotland County, like, door knocking was not a whole lot. We did a lot more phone calls than we did door knocking.
What you did was excellent. So, did you have 5 people, 10 people door knocking? What did you?
I would say probably 5 and 6. It wasn't a whole lot.
But okay. So this is what I'm trying to get across.
Yeah.
It does take a village. Okay, we need as many people as we can, but very consistent and determined people, even a small handful, can make those changes. That's what even people that have responded on my campaign website or whatever, it's like, yes, those Republican ideals should be endorsed. However, can you please come to the next executive committee meeting? I think it had to do with some state resolutions and things of that nature. It's like, look, if you want the anti-abortion thing, if you want I think we had a certificate of need legislation. Are you familiar with that one?
No.
They came up at our convention that we as a GOP Cumberland County are endorsing. I didn't understand it. It was something about if a hospital needs to buy a big $1 million piece of equipment, that they need to get permission from the state. Anyway, but these are things that the party has to make part of their platform on the state level. But somebody on my comments was saying, well, we want number 1 and number 4. And I said, well, please come to the executive committee. Please be involved so that we can affect the change that you're after. I didn't know enough about them to agree or disagree. And I feel like if my party endorses it, then we're probably okay. But anyway, so Bishop, did you understand the resolutions on Saturday? Because I was in the weeds.
I understood. I know the one from Two Citizen Moms was really about medical freedom, and because they push, and that's Mindy and Tara, and what they do is they really have been warriors fighting against the mandates for the vaccine and forcing people to be vaccinated and forcing children to be vaccinated and people losing their jobs. So they've been on the front lines fighting against this. So what they've done is they sent out that resolution to all, I believe they sent it to all the GOPs to have that resolution voted on and then moved to district so that it can then be moved to state and be voted on at the state. So I know that one. And then I know there was the one, it was to have abortion completely abolished in North Carolina, because I think right now it's abolished to the extent of I think it is like 12 weeks.
12 weeks. Yes, sir.
So they want it to be completely abolished where you cannot receive an abortion anywhere in the state of North Carolina at any point in pregnancy. Based on the Republican Party platform, I believe it's sections 1 and section 4 of the Republican Party platform. So that was one of the other resolutions. The other one, I don't remember because I fell asleep at some point. It was just...
Well, we didn't. We ran out of donuts and coffee, so
Yeah,
there was
we
no
did.
fuel for us, and we needed fuel.
Yeah, I was done. I moved my hat to the front.
Yep.
And put my head down a little bit and did like we did in the military, act like I'm still woke, shake my head, but I'm knocked out asleep. I reverted back to my military training.
Yes, you did. So, and I, not having a coffee and donuts, that's why I got a little shaky up there when I had to stand up and speak in front of 100 and some people, about that.
I didn't see you shake.
You didn't see me. I got grit in my teeth,
Oh no, I thought you were just ready to punch somebody. My bad.
I get to be an angry little guy sometimes, but I tried to articulate what I wanted.
Mm-hmm. I think you did pretty good. I didn't see the shaking. You did.
We all did very well. We all stood up. The people that are in the know, we all stood up and we fought for what we thought was right. And so Jacob, so when am I going to come visit your convention in Scotland County? When are y'all getting together to convention?
So ours is going to be on Monday, March 24th. We had a registration. Will start about 6:30.
Okay. Then, you do yours at night?
Yes.
Do y'all serve dinner?
We will have hot dogs and snacks.
Hot dogs.
Hey, I heard snacks. I'm there.
That's what I heard too. I heard hot dog snacks. You're invited. That's what I heard.
So,
and where's that located, Jacob?
Give me the address. I'm going to put it up as a banner. Go ahead.
Okay, it's I think it's 1040 Salem Street in Laurinburg, North Carolina 28352.
Oh, I can't go to Laurinburg. I broke a couple hearts out there.
It's right off of the I think it's 501 bypass or 401 bypass.
Okay, and that's going to be Monday, March 24th at 6:30 p.m.
Yes, this is when we'll start the registration and we'll start serving the hot dogs and stuff like that.
I broke a lot of hearts in Laurinburg, Jacob.
Of course,
they're not Republicans, so they won't be there.
All you guys are welcome to come. Be glad to have you.
Okay.
We have our, of course, resolutions and the officer elections.
Okay. Do y'all have differing slates? Have you had any activity as far as did you have anything near what we just went through in Cumberland County?
Probably not. We always encourage other people they want to challenge.
Right.
The sitting slate. They are more than welcome. But I'm not 100% sure. At least not as of right now. I haven't heard of anyone that wants to challenge me for it.
Okay.
But, if they want to, they are more than welcome. It's always good to have good discord. And to have more people that want to serve. That's one of the biggest things.
Right.
Let's go back to them hot dogs real quick. I got to make sure I can eat. Because those going to be beef or pork? Because I can't eat no beef.
I'm not sure about that part. I'm not sure. I cannot answer that question.
This is pertinent information, Jacob. This is pertinent. I can't eat beef.
See, you got me wondering, though, because I'm thinking between me and you, Bishop, when the hell we ever miss a meal?
I'm trying to tell you, and if I'm showing up,
I mean,
have a pack of pork hot dogs on the side for me.
I will make sure that's it.
Thank you. I'll be there. Just have my hot dog.
Guys, my dear cabinet, our 60 minutes is up. I want to say thank you to our 60 minutes. I can't cue the music. I don't have it. So, you know what? Thank you to my on-air cabinet members. Pastor Josh, it's good to see you again. I'm glad you're healthy again. Bishop,
Good to be back.
I like your head, Joshy.
Well, I do want to say thank you to Mr. Jacob Pate for joining us. It's always a pleasure to see you. You've been a fixture around Cumberland County, and I hope to return the favor soon. To our audience, I hope you'll do us a favor and take time this week to visit one of our commercial sponsors and let them know you heard their message right here on the Carolina Cabinet. If you do somehow miss an episode of our top-rated show, you can find us. There you go. It's my cue. You can find us on your favorite podcast broadcaster, Apple, Spotify, Google, Audible. We're kind of everywhere.
We are everywhere.
Look for us online at thecarolinacabinet.com.
Make sure you put the D in there.
All the videos and put the because North Carolina makes some good cabinets, but the Carolina cabinet is where you want to be.
Did Peter say Wakanda forever, or did he say Wakanda? What did you say?
The North Carolina makes good cabinets.
I thought I heard you say Wakanda.
Give me a what is that? Wakanda for the movie thing. So look, thanks again for tuning in this morning. Until next time, we are the Carolina Cabinet.
Carolina Cabinet.
Woo!
We hot.